It's the 2nd of October and I'm Jerusha Sukthio-Rath. Now let's have a look at today's newspaper front pages, largely focusing on a wonderful donation by Mark Shuttleworth, 250 million rand in fact, to uphold constitutional rights in South Africa and in Africa. And then on the other hand, Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu lashing out at the South African government for barring the Tibetan spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, from the country. We'll kick it off with the front page of the Times. Here we say Nobel is a no-go. Meeting of peacemakers scrapped as a result of protests against Dalai Lama visa reform. There was meant to be a meeting in South Africa, in Cape Town in fact, of Nobel Peace Laureates to mark 20 years since the end of apartheid and to commemorate and remember Nelson Mandela. But many of these Nobel laureates have chosen not to attend the conference because South Africa is refusing a visa to the Dalai Lama. Now, reports suggest that the entire conference has been scrapped, but we're awaiting comment from the mayor of Cape Town, Patricia de Lille, who's going to hold a conference later today to explain what's happened. On the front page of the Cape, Argust Tutu rips lickspittle government's stance. Now, that fantastic word was used by Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu, saying that he's embarrassed of the government, and in fact that the government should be embarrassed to even have associated themselves with Nelson Mandela's legacy. Now, he's absolutely spitting mad, as I suppose many people are, that the Dalai Lama has been refused entry into the country. It's all got to do with South Africa's relations with China. China believes that the Dalai Lama is a Tibetan separatist and therefore don't have any type of good relationship with him. And because of South Africa's relations with China, it's apparent that the South African government doesn't want to anger China by inviting the Dalai Lama to the country. Now, if we keep looking at the front page of the Cape Argus, in the middle there it says, "We need to defend our constitutional rights," speaking about Mark Shuttleworth's incredible 250 million rand donation to a trust that's going to help people uphold constitutional rights. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. On the front page of Die Burger, so here, this story about Mark Shuttleworth again. Now, Mark Shuttleworth had a case against the South African Reserve Bank, and he eventually won that case, and he was awarded a return of 250 million rand. But instead of pocketing it, Mark Shuttleworth has set up a trust, and that trust is made up of constitutional lawyers and scholars and experts who are going to take up cases of people who need to argue things in the Constitutional Court, but simply cannot afford their own legal counsel. That's what Mark Shuttleworth is going to do with that money. But if we have a look below that, here we see the Nobel boycott, and Tutu says that he's ashamed of South Africa. On the front page of the Star, again, Shuttleworth's 250 million rand tax bonanza. And on the front page of the Beeld, again, focusing in on those stories, Mark Shuttleworth to the right, and then below that, Tutu, government spits in Mandela's face. For these stories and more, stay tuned to News 24 Live.